So, how you doing, Martin?
Good, Tim. Why don't you do a little introduction like you usually do?
Okay, my name is Tim Dammer, and this is Georgina Speaks, and we're here getting ready to do our last podcast before Christmas, and we wanted to set the record straight on a few things, and I'm off to Cuba on Monday, and I'm looking forward to that. It's been 7 months. I've been in a bubble of one, and I've been talking to myself so much that I've been starting to lose the arguments lately that I've been having with myself. So
Yeah, it's time to go then.
So the topic for today is again the lakeshore. I wanted to bring all of the residents of the lakeshore up to date, and to let you know what we're doing is what we discussed is I'm having a person that does the technical support stuff for the podcast. To do a web page specifically for the Shoreline, the legal actions and the correspondence and stuff that we're having. I'm going to be posting all of that online so that the residents can understand what it is that we're trying to accomplish.
Okay, I have a thing maybe, Tim, that you could do is just maybe do a bit of a disclaimer or whatever you want to call it, just maybe an understanding about what we're doing here. And with regards to, there's a ratepayer group, we're not part of that. Like, I kind of just to clear it up, it's just kind of you and me bringing the information to everybody, and you're doing some stuff on a legal way, but that's your bag of stuff, and maybe just straighten out, make sure everybody, because you've done it several times saying that,
actually there's a couple of other things I wanted to straighten out. One of them is that,
right.
And I've had these conversations with the chairs of the committees and the people. Darryl Blanchard, I've talked to him about this, I've talked to Alan Darenfeld in the past about this, and David Selassie. So there's a few things I want to make clear about that. And those residents, the groups of residents and the residents, their chairs, the people that represent them. It's a very hard and fine line to walk because they represent 300 people in that group.
Right.
And many of them have supported us. I've got lots of correspondence from a large number of them, but many of them are still waiting to find out what's going to happen with the town. But we all agree that the goal is the same.
Yeah.
Resolution of the problems, that a resolution that satisfies everybody's needs, and either one that everybody is happy about or one that everybody hates. Like that's what I think someone said. Then you got a good deal if everybody either. If everybody hates it or everybody loves it, then you got a good deal. So.
Yeah. Well, hopefully. That I was thinking this is more of an information thing for the residents. I mean, with COVID and everything, you can't go around talking to everybody, and it's really not our job to go talk to everybody about this either. So if they can see it on this venue, that's terrific, and they can. And if anybody wants to come on this podcast with us, they can call Tim or me, and you can be the third person in the window.
We can do a three-way podcast while I'm in Cuba easily by Zoom. And we're going to get into that part because the legal stuff's starting to heat up pretty good. I just want to revisit that last issue a little bit longer. And the thing is that with the guys, I've been sending information to them, and this is a really serious issue, and it's a problem that everybody needs to know about. But as a committee, they've been sending the information to all the residents by email, because they didn't want to withhold it. But they were all cognitive of the issue of the fact that we have to be really clear that I'm independent of all those.
Yeah.
My decisions are my own. I do what I believe to be the right thing to do, and so to avoid a conflict of interest, which is beginning to develop into a problem, I have to quit asking them to send my information to those people.
Right.
Like they're not comfortable with it, and I don't blame them. And so I understand. We all want the same goal. We're just approaching it differently, and everybody's not convinced exactly the right way to do it. So
I don't know that there is an absolutely right way to doing it. So
and guess what? It's the next stage of the lakeshore thing for 50 years. We're in the same boat they've been in for 50 years.
So you're addressing that, and I think that
so this web page.
I was just going to say you got a web page now. If everybody wants info, it's going to be on there. If you don't want to look at it, that's fine, and it's not biased in any way with regards to these committees and the residents.
They're not financially, morally. Everybody supports me because they agree with the principles that I'm dealing with, and the people that are supporting me, like with their name and money, are people that don't believe don't agree with the lawyer's opinion the way I don't agree with, then nobody agrees with that lawyer's opinion, by the way.
Right.
But there are some people that think that even though the town's overstepping the bounds, that in the end they'll do the right thing.
Right,
I have no faith in that.
yeah,
No, not, and for different reasons, not because they're doing anything nefarious, but for different reasons. So before I get into the paperwork that I'm working on for the legal stuff, there was a point at which I had, said that I'd been threatened by the town for making my, conflict of interest complaint, integrity complaint on the town lawyer to the integrity commissioner. And I had said that the town had threatened to recoup losses because they considered my claim frivolous. And I wanted to clarify, because it was Dave Redden had sent me an email saying that because there was some discussion on whether they even had to take my claim because that the town lawyer was never actually, he was there as a representative of the town, not a member of the committee.
right,
But it says member of the committee in the paperwork, so it's a disagreement. So that was the basis for my complaint. So, but he had said to me, what he had said in his email was that we're going to send your stuff to the commissioner, we will do that, but because you've been notified that he wasn't, then the town is going to incur costs and so on. And that's all it said. He didn't say we're going to try to recoup them from you, he didn't say anything further than that. But when I read it, in my feeble little mind, I just took it to the next step and I started making representations like I'd been threatened.
right,
And when I reread it in the last couple of days, I realized that no, actually I wasn't threatened. And I was happy because I like Dave and I didn't like carrying that connotation with me
right,
as it relates to him. And so it wasn't, maybe in the end that was what happened, I don't know. But I was wrong. I was not threatened that they were gonna come after me. I think they probably would have anyway. But I wanted to clarify that because I didn't like carrying that connotation, particularly as it relates to him, because I have a lot of respect for him. And so I wanted to clear that up.
okay, good,
And as always, I want to say thanks to a large number of the residents who have sent me emails of support, who support what I'm doing. And so thank you for your support. And this website, you'll be able to go to this website now. This podcast will be going up on that in the next couple of days before I get away. And then all of the documents from the various legal aspects in the complaint will be there for people to read, so they can see why I think the way I do. And they can agree with it or disagree with it, and there'll be spots there for them to comment if they want. I find that most people don't want to write in because they have a vested interest or they're afraid
yeah.
of
Well,
repercussion or whatever. And I
yeah,
don't
you don't
blame
know
them.
where that comment's gonna go, I guess, like, would be, like, if I do something like that on Facebook or something, I said, geez, I don't even know who's gonna read that, you know, so.
What would be you can tell me about this, what would be the reason that some of the people in this crowd don't want to get involved in fighting with the town?
Well, I mean, it's natural, nobody really wants to fight, I mean, as Canadians, we're pacifists in a way.
Yeah.
And, nobody really wants to fight, I mean, there's some people that do, of course, and I don't really wanna say it, fight it, but, you know, when we all have to look after our rights, what else do we have? And when you have property, you have property rights, and if they're being infringed upon, whether, you know, either way, if it's the township or it doesn't matter, like, if rights are being infringed, whoever they are,
Yeah.
it should be just looked at, and it should be looked at properly, that's all. And I don't think it's not really a fight, it's a matter of, like some disagreements.
Yeah.
And I think people just don't like getting involved in that, I just think some people's nature is like that, they just don't,
Yeah.
like, I don't like to do that. But if somebody steps on my toes hard enough, I go, okay, well then, I guess I better play, you know, so.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, they just don't know how it's affecting them, and they don't really have all the information to know how it's affecting them.
Yeah,
There's so much confusion around this, they don't know how it's
I
affecting them,
think
so.
a lot of the confusion is deliberately injected too.
Well, possible, but I'm just saying that, I think that's why they're, like, if you really don't know, like, sometimes I sit
Yeah.
here and I'm listening to some of the things you're saying, and I go, well, I haven't read all that, like, I didn't read Rusty's report and all that, and I'm going, well, you know, I don't know too much about that, but, you know, if somebody wants to read it, it's available.
It'll be
And-
there.
Yeah, and, you know, if you wanna get right into it and find out what your rights really are and what you're really talking about, go for it, the information will be there.
Well,
Yeah.
Perfect. So the next thing I wanted to say was, what I wanted to say about that was, and what I wanted to hear what you had to say about it first was that if you're one of the people that are affected by this effort, there's 150 to 300 people, something, I don't know what the exact number is, but if you are affected and you're not comfortable getting on board, being vocal, lending your, visual support and signing it. I get it, and don't worry about it. Like, everybody has the way that they deal with everything, and I respect what everybody's comfortable with. This happens to be what I do, I'm very comfortable in this arena because I've been here many times on different issues for different reasons, and on a very similar reason where the town was deliberately pushing people around, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I took them to court, and the town lawyer guaranteed the town that there would be a win here, don't worry. He fought for 3 years and he lost, and he charged him $425,000 to do it.
Right.
Then he convinced, counsel, you should be paying attention to this, I'm telling you right now. I'm serious. He charged him $425,000, something like that. Then he convinced them they had no choice but to appeal that decision that he lost, and charged him $75,000 to lose that. Yeah. And then he convinced them it was a win.
Yeah.
But what he didn't realize, what he didn't explain to him, who was going to win. He made $500,000.
Yeah.
He won.
He won pretty
Yeah,
good.
a win. It was a win. He said it was going to be a win. Yeah, okay. Anyway, I'm joking about that, but with counsel, I'm not joking about this. This is going to cost $500,000. It could end up costing me my life savings, and I don't care, because I believe in what I'm doing, and I believe I'll win in the end, because what they're doing, I believe, is patently wrong.
Yeah.
And but if you're interested in doing the right thing, take a good look at everything that's going on and make your own individual judgments, and don't rely on some lawyer that's going to get you in a closed meeting and tell you, well, you have to shut up now and let us deal with this, because you know where we're all going to end up. And I'll be there, when the time comes. Yeah. So that's that aspect of it.
Good.
You remember all that when all that went on, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Remember all after the contractors were, when they all got their levies back?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Well, it was again, it was a thing that was unfair. No sense rehashing it.
No.
It's kind of old news.
No, but
Good, like relevant news to why you do these things, but not relevant to this particular one.
it was a justice thing, and keep in mind, they had the same situation where council was kind of being advised they had to do it. And you know who was responsible there? And you know who started this whole effort?
No, I don't. That's
Win-Ann Grant.
okay.
Yeah, gave herself a 20% increase in pay every year. Increased the town budgets to twice the rate of inflation every year since the day she took over,
Right.
when they used to hold it to the rate of inflation. And then she booked it on a sick leave, and she's down east working now or something. I don't know. I don't care, and I don't have any need to badmouth her. It's fun, but I don't have any need to. So,
Well, I just to reiterate some of the things that we talked about while you were shuffling some papers
Yeah.
there. We did get one comment about the possibility of that road being a one-way road. We got a comment on our
yeah, actually,
website.
I seen that.
Which I thought was pretty good.
Yeah.
And it feels to me like I'm playing handball without a wall here, because I'm not getting any information back, and I guess maybe the residents aren't either. And so then that might be a reason why people don't want to be involved, because they're really not getting enough feedback.
No, the town's deliberately not.
Well, because we said do the art plan. That was a brilliant idea to find out what the cause of all this is and what the actual properties are. Why would that not be done? I don't understand. That was
They are all,
yeah.
because I believe, they've already decided what they want to do.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't be conducive to accomplishing their goals.
fair enough. Yeah.
That's
Like,
right.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
well, no, I just say I feel
Yeah.
like handball without a wall, because like if they said, you know what,
Yeah.
it's gonna cost too much to do it, or various things, like whatever they might have to. I haven't got any comments back
Yeah.
about that, and I'm just thinking, well, I thought it was a good idea. If you're
Well,
gonna fight over 300 pieces of property or whatever it is, you should really know what you're fighting over. I mean, it just makes sense. And then going forward.
No, they deliberately
Yeah.
set that committee up, and then they don't have to deal with all the residents, they have a committee.
Yeah.
Then the lawyers attended all the meetings with that committee. Then they formed a subcommittee of that committee to take all these resolutions and recommendations that they worked on for 2 years. And council said, okay, let's give all these recommendations to the subcommittee and have them come back with recommendations. And the lawyer took it all away, threw it in the garbage, 2 years' work, including all the stuff that was included right in the actual bylaw of the town, the ad hoc committee bylaw and their goals regarding the exclusive use. All that went by the wayside, and he just came back with his own recommendations and his proclamation. We own everything based on that we own everything, we can fence it off and tear your boathouse down. Like, all nonsense, not gonna happen.
Right.
And certainly is not gonna happen now because it's gonna be tried. There's another thing I wanted to mention regarding that. I'm gonna go through this legal stuff.
Okay, yeah, go right ahead.
Is that right?
Yeah, you feel free.
Well, yeah, we've discussed this, and what's going on the website is the 3 stages that we've done so far. I had filed a complaint against the town lawyer. It was an integrity complaint, and it was about a disagreement that we have, that he should not have been named to that committee, because he represented one half of that committee. He represented the town, who was half of that committee. Why don't you just let one of the lawyers be the mediator?
Yeah.
The lawyer for one side be the mediator in mediation. That's what you were doing. Right. So anyway, we believe, and I got good legal opinion, that was actually would have been considered a legal opinion. But so I filed this complaint with a book of documents against Andrew Biggert, and again, it's not a nasty thing or a negative, nefarious, bad judgment, whatever the level it rises to. For whatever he did, we think he shouldn't have done that. So then, as that was ongoing, 8 of the residents, myself and 7 other people, filed small claims in small claims court. That's my issued claim, and that'll be posted on site so that people can read the content of the claim.
Right.
Right. So that'll be, and the book of records for the complaint deals with all the issues and has a history of, and all the documents regarding. It actually has a good index, and it's tab 1 through 16, and it has has the Rusty Russell report or the letter and his letters from the town, because if you read them in sequence, they're all over the map. One time we own it, the next time no, we're just trying to quiet title, so we send them a bunch of people's properties here, quiet these. Well, tell us here, oh no, we're not doing that. We're just doing. We never said we were going to quiet title. Like, they're just all over the map, and so.
I think the first few items I read about this, everybody was all over the map on it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, once a lawyer.
Every response from the town or the lawyer was different than the last one, and irrelevant to what the conversation was about. So, and that's what's been going on, and the reason is, nobody thought that this was going to happen. Somehow they got it in their head, we own everything, so okay, now from that standpoint, we're gonna do what we want, we're gonna decide which ones we wanna keep, we're gonna put a big value on it, because for a bogus, I'm sorry, I don't mean, for his explanation, I won't even put my normal characterization on it, how's that?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, so that's the small claims, so there's 8 small claims, we're waiting for them to file their defenses on those, and when that comes, then we'll proceed to the next level, and, but the claims are there, and then what happens is we assemble a book of documents for that, and a book of authorities to go with that, and then which support our stuff, and when that happens, the 8 people will all draft something, and we'll get together, and whether we'll agree, they'll be heard individually, but at the same time.
Right.
So that we can address all the issues, and because there are actually some of them that have their own specific circumstances.
Right.
And so, okay, so that's that. I had another thing I wanted to address at the end of it, but so that is the complaints there, and then the biggie, the one we've all been waiting for, the one I've been so desperately trying to. I mean, I offered cherry cheesecakes, and I offered chili, and anything I could to avoid having to go through this crap. I thought that was a pretty good natured offer, actually. I thought it was a sign of goodwill and a little levity. Anyway, so the big thing is that there's no other choice now but to go for an application for judicial review to review the town's conduct and their decision-making process as it relates to a number of legal principles that apply. And procedural fairness is the biggest one, and we're asking for an order for the town to stop doing what they're doing, to stop taking private property into the public arena, because they're not recognizing people's rights, not the right to be heard is one, right to be heard, right to a fair and impartial hearing. They were just shut out of everything, and the town lawyer just shut them all off and then brought his own recommendation. So the right to be heard was denied. There's a legitimate expectation, there's a principle that has to do with Rusty Russell, the original guy whose opinion we all have been relying on, and that town lawyer adamantly relies upon. He actually himself attended the original when his report came. And council made all these decisions, okay, this is our circumstances based on that report. No clear title is possible. Rusty Russell said himself, nobody wins in a court battle. There's no way of knowing what that would go. But he did say, if I went to the Attorney General, and he would fight for the maximum public interest of the public, and that would be a 66-foot road allowance.
Right.
Right, so that's the max. So the town owns a road. There is no there is no liability issues here, it's a road. It's the same as Walter Drive, the Queensway, and about 200 other ones. So if you want indemnification for someone getting hurt, go ask the people on Walter Drive for theirs first, and then come back to our road, and we'll talk. Yeah, it's a red herring, and so they keep bringing up this integrity. There's no issues with integrity, it's a road. And so all of the stuff that was developed out of those conversations in the 90s with Rob Grossi was actually on those councils, and addressed the people's rights, the riparian rights that the people have received from the ministry with the full cooperation of the town, in keeping with all of those conversations that they had. I'll give you another one, the fencing bylaw. 1.5 meters off the pavement, because at the time, they couldn't figure out whether the road was the width of the pavement or whether the road was 66 feet. That was all the stuff that they couldn't figure it out. Like there was no definitive. This entire situation has no legislation that applies.
Right.
Because of the way that it was developed. So there's so many competing legislations that there was no way of getting a clear definition of the road. There's no set of legal principles that would apply to everybody, so that we could come up with a solution that addresses everybody's conflicting interests.
Right.
But they're legal interests. Everybody has them in legal rights.
Their interest, yeah.
So that's why council did what they did in those days with Rusty Russell's cooperation and Charles Loop's cooperation and Linton Lecker Monteith. They all participated on behalf of the residents, the lawyer for the town at the time, and Rusty Russell as the town's representative. They come up with a set of rules, regulations, policies, bylaws to govern, and that speaks to the town has a right. I mean, they have a right. It's a road. They have to maintain it. They have a right to run their town. They have a right to maintain the road, part of that, and address their responsibilities. And the real thing here is that if I went back through all the meetings and I read them, and I did,
yeah.
the residents should be held in the highest regard, because they did everything they had to do. They did everything that the town asked of them in terms of cooperation and concessions to put the town in a position so they could do their job. Council recognized it. They passed all that. Done. 7 subsequent councils recognize it, even today. And then this lawyer comes along and says, no. And the cheeky part is he sat in there in all those meetings for that 2 years. Then he became part of the committee. Then he took all the committee's information. So they were just never heard in the end. None of their recommendations were addressed. None of them were brought back to council in actionable form. He just threw them in the garbage, and he brought his own recommendations. Number 1, we own it all. Number 2, such valuable property, we can decide whatever we want to do with it. We're going to get big bucks there. And number 3, anybody who doesn't cooperate, like the Sopranos, you don't play ball, man. We're going to fence your property off and tear your boathouse down. Is that disgusting? So anyway, no, I mean, and it's the truth. It's what happened, and God bless Rob Grossi for bringing that up, because the mayor said right at that meeting, well, we were not going to discuss that tonight. And Rob said, no, I want this discussed today. And they discussed it. And I have it being transcribed by a court reporter right now. I should have it back. He's going to send it to me Monday morning before I go away, so I'll have it. And that'll go up on the website, the transcript of that July 24th meeting. And and Councillor Waddington again, thanks, hats off. So all of this legal proceedings, all the documentation, they're going to be put on the website so people can go there. And when the town files their defense, that will go there too.
Well, have we heard anything about the possible, I guess, slowing this down for 6 months or something? I think we were asking, like, why don't we just everybody step back for a period of time? Maybe, and you suggested maybe 6 months, where committees could get together with the town and resolve this thing before it goes any further. I mean, why would it happen?
I'll tell you what I would do. I would be I've talked to the committee guys about it.
Right.
And you got to remember, when I talk to those guys, I have no standing there.
Right.
I have only what I'm doing. And then from the basis of the information that I have and the actions that are going on, I tell them, I make what I think would be a good recommendation to try to resolve it. When we talked to them about the $25,000 deposit for an art plan. That was as a result of the work that we've done.
Right.
And we recommended it to them, and they thought, great, yeah, let's try that. And it was an honest, they're trying. I mean,
Oh, no, for sure,
yeah, a group of residents offered to put up $25,000. Who does that to the town?
Yeah.
Town should be jumping at it, like these people are trying so hard. And so anyway, so that's that. So when all this stuff's available, to the issue of the resolution that you were just talking about, I wanted to mention here today as well. So the town's gonna file their defense. Judicial review, it's actually been submitted to the court, and there is my receipt for $220 for for submission to the court for my judicial review, and it's there and it's going ahead. And I have a process server that's gotta go down and address a couple of details with it. So sometime this week we'll do that, so within 2 weeks it'll actually be issued, and he'll serve it on the town, and so that'll be the next step. Then the town will have their 20 days, whatever it is they have to respond. I forget what the rule says.
Yeah.
So, and then they'll respond. And then it'll be months and years, we'll go through a whole bunch of hoops, and they'll do some motions, and the lawyer will do a motion, he'll make 40 grand off the town because he did some stupid motion, which he'll lose. So, but he'll get paid anyway, he's like a baseball player, right?
Yeah.
So, anyway, so that's kind of like process, so we're all into the process now, this is just gonna go on. So there's two things. I would like it, I don't know, you and I actually haven't discussed this, but I was thinking that for a protocol that would be comfortable. I think Dave Neeson, who's a really good guy, Dan Fellini's a really good guy, Mike Waddington's a good guy, and they're kind of like the waterfront reps anyway.
Right.
So anyone or all of those three wanted to get together after consulting with their lawyer, they need to talk to their lawyer, I mean, that's 100%. But they need to make it clear to the lawyer they want a resolution to this.
Right.
They need their lawyer to take a real serious look at the way Biggert approached this and decide, is this over, or do we need to take another tack now? And if they're in agreement, nobody's gonna win here if we go through this process.
Right.
It's gonna rip my guts out for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
But, I'm there, and I will be there. Steps to the Supreme Court if I have to be. So, and I don't wanna go through that, and then I know the town doesn't either. Council, they shouldn't want it anyway. So, if they don't want to, any one or all three of those councilors, get a hold of Daryl and get a hold of Dave and Alan and those guys, and I'll be more than happy to sit with them. And if they give us 6 months to come back with them with a set of proposals that resolves everybody's issues.
Right.
Indemnification, which I think is a red herring, but we will address it. We'll have legal opinions. We'll, in terms of, okay, what's the final product gonna look like? We'll have a legal opinion of where the town would stand on that and how they would be clear of any indemnification. And the big criteria is that anybody who's been enjoying the use of that property till now will get that continued use of it, period. But the town's road will be identified.
Right.
So then there's the town, and then, so it's a really actually simple matter if you start approaching it from the basis of, so then, and everything. So basically, if they were looking for a resolution, if those people will sit down and be the reps for the town with these guys, and I'm gone to March, but you seen the set of maps I put together?
Yeah, yes, I think.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not that hard, and everybody can, I've gotten a lot of them sent me, this is my property and these are the circumstances. I'll work on it up through the internet and correspondence back and forth, and I'll start assembling it. Daryl and the gang can work with, there's a number of property owners that say, yeah, if we get something like this going, where they're physically going out, looking at the properties, talking to the owner, what do you think you own here? Yeah, no, we're here, Jack used to own that, and then but now the new people are there. So you would very quickly come up with a fairly clear understanding of where most people stand on all of it. You can identify what the town's needs are, you can,
Yeah, I think we talked about it before, that
Yeah.
probably there's a percentage of people that can be satisfied with one, like a good percentage, like, whether it's 70%, and then there's probably the other 20 have a few other things, and then maybe 10% would be a little iffy about a few things because they're near road allowances and, and there's all kinds of things, I think there's some properties where if they walk out the door, they're on the road allowance, so.
Yeah, the one thing I did want to say for the town lawyer and the mayor, stop telling people, well, I feel real bad for you that your lawyer told you you own the property. The lawyer didn't tell them they own the property. The lawyer told them the title wasn't possible.
Yeah.
Which is true. Nobody knows who they own it, and you don't own it. So stop telling people like you really give a shit. oh, we're really sorry, but talk to your lawyer, it's his fault. It's not. It's like, it's condescending.
Yeah.
And it's a way of taking the responsibility off of yourself for dealing with problems that you're creating by your process.
Right.
Anyway, sorry, I don't mean to get upset about that, but it's just, the lawyer, well, sorry, talk to your lawyer, it's his fault. It's not. The lawyers, how many lawyers you ever told anybody here you own that property? You ever find that?
No, I haven't, well, only if there is a deed.
Yeah, if they have a deed from
Yeah.
that, right.
Yeah.
So then they're saying, your lawyers are all bad lawyers.
Yeah.
And I know everything.
Again, I'll reiterate what I said before, if you check out your title insurance policy, if you do have one on your waterfront
Yeah.
property, it'd be a good idea to call them up.
Yeah,
And just have a little meeting and to say, okay, I paid for this insurance, and I'm having a little trouble.
yeah,
Can you help me out? And I'm sure they have to have a look at it. And I don't know how many people would be where they actually got that insurance, because
Yeah.
most of the insurance companies said, no, we're not getting involved in that. But maybe some of them just rubber stamped it and let them do it. And if they let them do it, then maybe there is some.
yeah, you gotta watch that, because, trust me, I look at everything, and if there's a loophole, I'm gonna be in there, and, but if anybody knew in advance and didn't tell you, and they can't rely on that they didn't know, and, if they knew there were problems and didn't inform the insurance company,
Yeah.
then the lawyer ended
Well,
up.
the insurance is void then.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah,
I
no,
mean, so-
but I mean, there might be some circumstances where it's not, that's
Yeah,
all.
there would be,
Yeah.
there'd be like easement circumstances and that kind of stuff where where that might come into play is where they have 3 PIN numbers on one, and a couple of the PIN numbers are easements and one is the actual owner, and then 2 other people have easements over, and that sort of thing could actually apply to title insurance to clean
Yeah.
that up. And,
Yeah, as I say, I mean, I'm just saying, I don't know if there's a thing there, I don't know that much about it.
Yeah.
I'm not reading a title insurance policy there,
there's a ton of money sitting there that for a legal fund if needed. I mean, people have a right to assemble a legal fund. It's 300 people. They have a right to have a legal fund in case they need it. And then the town acts like they're being threatened with legal. I'm taking your property and then I'm getting indignant because you're threatening legal action.
Yeah.
What the hell? Like, what is that?
Yeah, well, I guess we're gonna find out.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I also think too, Tim, that when you bring these things to the town, they're obliged, to get lawyers.
Well, no,
I mean, like every time that you say something to them, they've gotta take it through a lawyer. I mean, if I was in their position, I'd say, well, hey, Tim's coming at me with this stuff, what do I do about it? And so it's gonna incur cost for them.
one of the lawyers that I deal with on a fairly regular basis, I have certain things that I like to categorize to address. One set of situations is this stuff that I'm working on on my own behalf. My claim, the complaint that I filed, and the judicial review is my effort.
Yes.
With support of all these other people. And then, but what I have somebody working on now is the town needs to be put on notice, legal notice, that now that the issue of title, the issue of their behavior, the issue of their actions has become an issue that's being tried in the courts, then they ought to stop their activity.
Yeah.
And they should be legally put on notice that if they continue with that activity, they're gonna be held responsible for any negative effects of it,
Right.
legally. And so, I have a lawyer that I'm working with now, that if any of the property owners wanna be put on a list to put the town on notice that they ought to wait until that everybody should wait until these legal proceedings are done. The town should either come to the table, try to work it out, give us our 6 months that we're asking for, to work out the solution and a set of proposals that satisfies. And the town tried to do that until this lawyer messed it all up, actually.
Right.
Because they formed the ad hoc committee, and if you read what the ad hoc committee said, it said to continue the exclusive use, to settle conflicting issues. So they tried to, and then the lawyer come in and when
Maybe the town will take one step back and.
if they would do that, and that they would come back to the committees, I have some ideas about how to get it resolved, and a set of proposals. If they're honestly, they don't own it, that's for sure. They own 66 feet. There's nothing there to sell. Well, if they only own 66 feet, why don't they sell the ditches on Walter Drive to the people in front of them, and if they don't buy them, they'll fence it off and tear their house down. Same thing, right?
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
In a way, yeah. So, but here they're, we need to save the lake or whatever, nonsense. Anyway, so just to recap on one final issue, because I just love these issues, you know that, right? So, this is at its core an expropriation proceeding. it's been identified, everybody kind of agreed with Rusty Russell, okay, at the max it would be 66 feet. And we're talking about the foremost authority in Ontario for roads, which the town lawyer says he's relying on. He said, and based on that, we all agreed, the property owners. Now the town's trying to expand that expropriation to encompass properties which they've already identified that they don't need, so that they can sell it back to the people that they're appropriating it on.
Yes, pretty well.
No, okay, no, I thought maybe I was missing something there.
Well, there's, you know, there's those missing slivers, eh, and I guess that's,
Slivers, yeah, they got a
like, I don't
sliver,
know.
all right.
Some of them are bigger than slivers,
Yeah.
but I have no idea, because that's why our plan would be so important, because
Yeah,
then,
well, I measured, there's a lot more than 10% that have more than the 66 feet, there's
Right.
land
Oh, yeah,
out there.
yeah.
Whether it was reclaimed with the consent of the ministry, with the riparian rights granted to the owner by the ministry, with the consent of the town. That's another thing. So there, you know, I got this talk going, this conversation going, and next thing you know, and people at the town, some people call me and say, no, what about this? You know, like, so you find out what their train of thought is. And so then, so they jumped in on the riparian rights, said, oh no, the town owns the riparian rights, because that's what the Riparian Rights Act says. No, the Riparian Rights Act says where the road goes, edge meets the water, then the town would be the one that has riparian rights. Save and accept and special arrangements have been made, which,
they have been, I think.
for about 50 years, and reaffirmed by 7 more councils, except for these people, who are out to destroy this residential community.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So, and the riparian rights, so that if you say there is land beyond the 66-foot mark, it either belonged to the ministry as the water bottom,
Yeah.
or it's a residue piece that used to belong to the one across the road, and they could make an argument, and some people actually have land titles because of their situation.
Right, right.
Town doesn't own any of it.
Well,
Right,
I think, you know, one of the things, Tim, I think that we talked about the R plan, so, I mean, if they do actually, I think recommendation wise, if they have that 6 months, if you go and assume there's a 66-foot road allowance, do the
Yeah.
R plan, and see how much effect it has on everybody's property. You know, because
Yeah.
right now we can talk, I have no idea how many it would affect. You know, and I don't know,
Well, there's
but
this-
we know where the lake bottom is, that's been established by the ministry, and it's, you know, carved in stone, that one.
yeah.
And so if we carve the other one in stone, then what have we got in between?
There's actually a fairly simple, there is a simple solution to identifying where the property is, because Rusty Russell and the other people involved have surveys that the most clear line defined is the south line of the road. All, like, there's markings for it, and then the rest, you know, 66 feet goes shy of the water, and then that still belongs to the guy across the road. That's been argued. Some cases it's been agreed they got land titles, some cases not. The ministry, the water line recedes or not. Some of it's been reclaimed under the ministry. So those pieces are pieces that the town's got no business in. They're outside. And these people were gracious enough to work along with the town and help them with their problem. Yeah, and then expropriation. Yeah. Anyway, so the so is there anything else we should have said? Because I've been babbling. I get babbling away, but
I think you get to babble before you go to Cuba, I think.
yeah, I'm just having a good babble
Yeah.
before I leave.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? You know why I do that so much? When I get here,
Yeah.
I've been living in a bubble of one for 7 months.
Yeah, well, we can.
And the arguments that I've been having in my head lately, I've been losing. That's how crazy I'm getting.
Yeah,
You know, I have a big family down there, and when I get down, they have a regimen for testing, and if you wait for 1 day, then you're free to go if you're, and they're top of the medical. So after being 7 months on my own, going over, giving my grandkids, Blue and Madeline, their air hugs, you know, because you can't go near them, you know that.
Yeah.
And I'll be able to settle in with a huge family I got down there. It's going to be so nice. I just want to do that, and I'll do
Okay,
that.
well, we'll wish you well on that voyage, Tim. Also, just a reminder for everybody, make sure you
Yeah.
shop locally if you can. I think they're,
Oh, yeah.
they're locking us down soon, I think, again, so, yeah, I'm not sure what that means to everybody, but,
So how you been making out in the community with COVID? Everybody kind of coping, or?
well, I think everybody's, you know, everybody's wondering what's going on. It's
Yeah.
but, you know, there is some light at the end of the tunnel, and we just gotta figure that, it's gonna still take some time, but at least we
Yeah.
can see some light, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And everybody's just gotta kind of stay patient and stay safe and look after your families like you
Yeah.
would normally do, and another 6 months, and then you can set them free
Yeah.
if you want.
The,
But anyway, it's gonna be fun to get everybody back into arenas and libraries and everywhere else and beaches and like we
Yeah.
got lots to offer here in this town. So it's just too bad it's all shut down. But I think there's some light.
Yeah, I'm in relatively short period of time, and the COVID song I did set it all for me anyway. I believe I've never been prouder to be a Canadian, to be honest with you. I've never had it brought home so seriously. How proud I am, because I mean we all bitch and chew, and we all have our people are doing appropriate things at times, but bottom line is generally everybody's pulling together. You show up at the Walmart, there's a lineup. Everybody, oh, excuse me, sorry, and I come around the corner and you almost run into somebody and everybody backs away really politely and everybody's aware, they're aware of everybody else's concerns. And even if I don't believe in wearing a mask, if wearing one makes everybody around me comfortable, it's the least I can do.
Yeah, well,
That's what Canadians are like. That's what I'm experiencing with everybody. It's really neat.
no, I think we don't have I think everybody trying to toe the line on that. And
We got a few Lugans, but we got no rednecks.
all right, well, I guess we'll call it a day on this one.
Yeah, I just wanna say in closing to council, talk to your lawyer and if you can be very clear that you're interested in a solution and ask him to really question the wisdom of going down this. And if you can see your way clear to having any one or all three of those councillors get a hold of the group and give us 6 months before you move on with anything else, suspend any other activities, and I don't wanna hear about public meetings. If I hear about a public meeting, it's off. I'll be going that process to the Supreme Court of Canada, because this is private property, you don't own anything there, that's my opinion. We're gonna test it in the court if you want, but if you wanna just try to get it resolved in a way that resolves everybody's needs and actually addresses the concerns that you profess to have, indemnity, I'll take care of that, don't worry, I have a solution. Have the councillors get a hold of those guys, and by resolution, suspend any further activity with the shoreline actions for 6 months. And at the end of those 6 months, these people and myself will come back with and Martin will be here most of the time unless he gets the green light. We're gonna keep him locked down, so he has to help us out. So Martin, I can't thank you enough for all your help on this. I certainly could not have done this, I can tell you right now, if I didn't have your support and help on this.
It's something that we feel is important, and
Yeah.
You look at it a little differently than I do because you like the legal field. I'm just not that interested in that.
I love
However,
it.
I am interested in the rights. I mean, I like rights.
Well, the pursuit of justice, I just love, I love it. And
rights and justice.
defending against injustice
Yeah.
is what I love. When I perceive something as being unjust and then being able to stop that, that's an amazing.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, it's a really good. It's worthwhile. It's worthwhile. I think is the term. This just shut off on me, so I think we're done.
Okay.
I don't know why it shut off.
Take care, everybody. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and all that stuff.
Yeah. And
Talk to you guys soon.